Hello, Uganda. Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Hot Seat on 933 KFM. I welcome you, our listeners across this beautiful land, the Pearl of Africa. My name is Patrick Kamara. Tonight, we are remembering a big number of people who perished in a road traffic accident on the road to Gulu this morning, in the wee hours of the morning. More than 4 vehicles were involved in a traffic accident. The numbers we had first were 63, but then we understand that it has been revised a little down. However, the death toll is likely to increase because some of the injuries of the people who were involved in the accident are very serious. And so tonight it's a sorrowful evening in Uganda, which is following a somber morning, because even in the morning when you got this news, there was a lot of shock across the country. This brings in the question of road safety in Uganda, because every time the traffic releases the traffic report, our new traffic report, we see that there is carnage on Ugandan roads. There's blood on Ugandan roads. Many people die, and sometimes there are crashes by borders, sometimes pedestrians who are knocked, sometimes vehicles that overturn. And I don't know where we can put the blame. It is us, the Ugandan people, who are indisciplined? Is it the road engineering, a design that maybe is defective? Or a combination of all these? So tonight, joining me first online is Mr. Joseph Beyanga, who is so passionate about road safety. And Joseph Beyanga has been walking across Uganda just to try to sensitize the people about road safety. Joseph, I want to welcome you on the show tonight. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening on a bad day, on a sad day, on a dark day. I mean, on a day when we are mourning many of our people. That number is such a huge number that it just shocks you.
Also with us in the studio, I have Senior Presidential Advisor, Mr. Moses Biaranga. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Patrick, and Joseph online, and our listeners out there.
So Joseph, let me begin with you on this issue, because you have, as an individual, seen a problem in Uganda. You have tried to raise awareness. You have done some campaigns. You have walked hundreds of kilometers from Kampala to Bushenyi, from Kampala to Fort Portal, from Kampala to Mbale, from Kampala to Gulu. And we thought, these crashes, this carnage on the road continues on daily. It's like an epidemic that is constant. Why are we in this mess, Joseph?
Thank you very much, Patrick, for such a tough question. I will start with a philosophical statement. Somebody said, what we permit, we promote. The crashes on the road that are happening, if you look at all the reports that have come out, they are mainly speeding, reckless driving, and then you go to the condition of the vehicles, and then there's another one that is creeping up and growing very fast, distracted driving. That's people on phone while driving. Now, if you look at the incident that happened on the Gulu Highway, and which brings up another issue, is 2 vehicles overtaking in a corner. So one, ask yourself, if the bus is able to overtake a Toyota Surf, chances are high these buses were moving very fast. It reminds me, the maximum speed is supposed to be 70, but this bus is able to overtake at that speed. So what does it mean? Chances are high this bus has no speed governor. You remember the story of speed governors and what happens to that. It reminds you, we've talked about so many things, but we've been consistent at being inconsistent. One, where's the enforcement? I'll give you an example. Patrick, as you talked about the last walk we had was on the Kampala to Gulu Highway. And the interactions with all people on the road, the cyclists, the pedestrians, the border guys, the vehicle drivers, the police guys, everyone was complaining on that road being narrow. And we witnessed it. Because most of the vehicles on that road, they are tracked. the truck, one truck overtaking another, one has to go a bit off the road and push the motorcycle off the road, and the motorcycle pushes the pedestrian off the road. So we need to look at the design and the structure, the design of that road. Two, human beings will make mistakes. If they make mistakes, the safe road is supposed to be designed in a way that it forgives your mistake. But at the moment, our roads are designed in a way that the moment you make a mistake, it is punished. And the punishment, we've seen how it is on the road, is so severe. And to give you perspective, from 2014 up to date, 2024, the last report we got from the police, the fatalities on our roads have grown by 80%. That number gives you at least 14 people killed on the roads every day. In 2024, the total number was 5,144. Patrick, that's way too many people dying to something that is avoidable. Well, let's go to the drivers. You notice something very peculiar. If you look at the buses going to the north, the great north, to Arua, to Duru, Lira, and then past the buses going to Soloti, most of them tend to move at night. And let's come to the aspect to the law enforcement. Most of our police officers are off the road by 6 p.m. And even if they wanted to do enforcement at night, it's total darkness. So what happens when the law goes to sleep and it takes over? If you've had stories of those buses, guys, screaming at night, telling the driver to stop, and he's not stopping. You've seen photos and videos of those buses all loaded like with people I don't know. We had a chance when we were walking to Guru, we made a stop over at one of those points in the night, and one bus had to stop over people to ease themselves at a fuel station. The number of people who came out of the bus, you'd think they are coming out of the stadium. So where's enforcement? We need to ask these questions, and then we talk about inspection of the vehicles. What's the state of the condition of these vehicles? What happened to vehicle inspection? We are paying people lip service. Then you come to driver education. Who ensures our drivers are trained and they are trained well? How do we get our driving permits? Yes, somebody will tell you, I go, they do driving tests and all. Man, I would say, yes, there's a lot of individual behavior, the drivers, being unbehaved and all that, but also there are so many huge gaps and a huge neglect when it comes to people's safety on the road. So
Joseph, you have narrated, the story you have narrated is like we are living on God's mercy, because almost everything is defective. Enforcement is wobbly, especially at night. The road design is not good. We have indiscipline on our roads. Sometimes also vehicles in dangerous mechanical condition. So it's a combination of so many things that no wonder Ugandans are dying. So, Mr. Birhanga, I mean, every time a loved one goes on a road, on the highway, you get worried until they reach the other side, until we have arrived. That's how we get so worried on Ugandan roads.
Yes, we get worried, but yes, I've listened to Joseph, and I know his concern on road safety, his walks, and so forth. And I think the biggest challenge is how we drive, our discipline on the roads, and I would say our discipline anywhere else, but here just in the middle, the city center, where people say at this speed you cannot overspeed even if you wanted to. You find it is a small hold up, then people make a second line, and then a third line, then So in that indiscipline, now when it comes to a highway, it's not controlled.
It can bring disaster.
It's disaster. So the first and most important thing is for us to be disciplined. Of course, overall, in the issue of he mentioned speed governors in the buses, yes, but also the issue of cameras on the road is important. And these cameras need to be advanced in the sense that the current ones we have basically just take pictures or videos of what is happening, but they don't monitor speed. One time I was traveling in the UK, and the road was a big wide road, a long distance place. And then I asked this driver, you have maintained the same speed for over 20-30 kilometers? He said, yes, if I went beyond what I am at, the cameras will pick me, will get me, and I will have to pay heavy fine. So you see, it's now the fear to overspeed is because the cameras are watching.
And you know, unlike the rest of us, Moses, I always say you're a representative of government. So why didn't this government do this?
Yeah, but the government can't do everything at the same time. There are many things to do. Yeah, but
these are lives of Ugandans.
Yeah, the lives of Ugandans. But we are said the first culprit is how we behave. You Kamara, you don't have to speed, and because government has not told you not to. So yes, the government has a role to play, but you, the driver, has a bigger role to control yourself.
So Joseph, before I let you go, are you still with us, Joseph?
Yes, I'm still with you. If I may respond to Moses just briefly. Moses, you mentioned something very important, the issue of an individual managing themselves. Yeah. And then there's another person whom we entrust with our safety. We do everything, we pay our taxes and everything, and we entrust you with our safety. And because the whole governance system envisages that some people will break the law, that's why we put there the law and we put money for it to be enforced. So we can't negate our responsibility and push it on the people. You can't negate the responsibility of enforcement and you say it's people's recklessness. No, man by nature will be rebellious. If they get an opportunity to break the law, they will break it. But now, a responsible government can't sit back and watch 14 people get killed and 45 get seriously injured, and you say it's on people. No way. Let's put some. I'm sorry. Let's value life.
All right, Joseph Beyanga from the Joe Walker Road Safety Campaign. We want to thank you so much for the effort you've put in, but also for the road safety campaign you've been doing across Uganda. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Thank you, Moses. See you soon.
All right, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we shall still look again on road safety from the perspective of the director, Uganda Road Accident Reduction Network Organization, Mr. Cuthbert Singoma. And then we look into, or getting into a season that has two things. There's a political campaign, which is also a very active season. That means people are going to be on the road, and they're actually on the road in big numbers. If you look at the crowds have been getting for the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi and His Excellency President Museveni in different places, we're talking about tens of thousands of people on the road all the time. But then we have indiscipline and we see accidents happening. How do we conduct ourselves in this season? We'll be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amaran. We're still focusing on that very unfortunate incident that left many Ugandans dead in a road traffic accident on the road to Gulu. I think they were around the areas of Kigumba. And we're told the numbers are big. At first they said 63 people, but later it was reduced to 47, though there's a fear that the death toll could rise because many people got serious injuries and are in different hospitals across northern Uganda. So we've just heard from a campaigner for road safety, Mr. Joseph Beyanga, but now we're joined by the director of Uganda Road Accident Reduction Network Organization, URENO, Mr. Cuthbert Singoma. Cuthbert, can you hear me?
Yes, Patrick. Good evening, our listeners, and good evening, KFM.
So Cuthbert, I know actually even your own organization talks about Road Accident Reduction Network, but and you put in a lot of effort in trying to reduce this carnage on our roads. But look at what is happening. And if you even be in Kampala on a daily, these border crashes, these things are daily. And sometimes we can think about numbers, but today there is somebody who is mourning the death of a brother, a son, a wife, a sister, a mother, a grandkid, a friend, a workmate. It's real pain in real homes. Why is this continuous?
Thank you, Patrick. This is continuous basically because many of us, the players, have not done our part. Government has a responsibility of keeping us alive. When government, I had Moses saying government cannot do everything. when the Uganda were in Masaka, government did everything to see that the Uganda stopped. So I think government has the capacity to stop these road crashes on our road. Because you cannot say that 14 people are dying every day and you cannot stop this. In Masaka, only about 10 people had died and we stopped them. So I don't think government is doing enough on their part. So government has a responsibility. We have tried our best as civil society to push government to do their job, but they are not doing enough. So I think everybody, whoever is in government, whatever they should do what it takes to keep us alive.
But before you hound the government and ask these tough questions, we, the people, also have a responsibility. Really, there's an element of indiscipline and recklessness that's cropping up among us Ugandans.
You see, being reckless on the road, again, how have we been taught to use the road? Again, it comes back to government. Whenever you make a facility, you must teach the road users on how to use the facility. So they have made the roads, but they have not taught us how to use them. They have given us the cars, we have bought the cars, but they have not taught us how to use the cars. If you go to the driving schools, as you've seen the driving schools, can you say that these driving schools can really teach someone how to drive on the road and be safe on the road and keep other people safe on the road? They can't. They teach people for only 2 weeks and tell them, go and kill people on the road. Is this really good? So again, the responsibility goes to government. Government has to teach us how to use the road. Government has to teach us how to use the vehicles because they want to control all these things. They control the driving school. There is no curriculum in the driving school. There are no instructors, certified instructors in these driving schools. So how do you expect them to teach us how to use the road? So again, let the government do their part. And everybody will do his part, and we should be safe on this road. The enforcement, there is no enforcement on the road. Because how many police officers we have doing traffic? But we have more police officers doing other things. So we need more traffic officers on the road than in other areas.
Okay, so let me bring in here, Moses. Even in other countries, when you look at some of the road traffic, it's also very the fatalities and injuries. It's also very appalling. But I know you're saying government hasn't done much in terms of enforcement. There's a problem there. Moses, how would you respond to Cuthbert?
Well, Cuthbert is neither here nor there. I think people are serious because the aim is not. Because see, he wants everything on government. Yes, government has a role to play, but I have not heard any country in the world. Look at the developed countries, whatever, which have all the systems you might think of, where there are no road carnages. In fact, if you were to go by some of the statistics available, you realize that some of the developed countries, if you look at the road carnage per 100 population or something like that, like you're doing in the COVID time when you say less per so many people, you'll find they are among the highest. So, and
in the United States in 2019, there were 12 million vehicles involved in crashes.
And now this is United States. So here for Cuthbert to put everything on the government, yes, the government has a role to play, but even the individual driver, I want to maintain that has a role to play. At the end of the day, it is you risking your life. If your driver is driving you or you're driving yourself, make sure that you are within limits. That notwithstanding that you cannot still have an accident even when you are slow, depending on maybe the competency or the other side or the other driver. But at the end of the day, it's a combination that the individual driver and the people you are driving have a role to play. Because if you are over, like sometimes when I'm being driven, like when I'm going up country, I tell my driver when I see him over speeding, I say, please go slow. There's no need to rush. But if you just enjoy the high speed and on a more risky area which is with heavy traffic, now that the roads are, most of the roads are going up country are good, then the risk is also high. So please, let us behave ourselves as drivers, and as people being driven, we have the control over those drivers, especially if it is an individual vehicle. Of course, for buses, yes, the passengers can complain, but sometimes those drivers can be unreasonable. And I think now it may be the enforcement of the what speed governors, like especially in buses and taxis, need to be enforced. Yes, well, that's the role of government. But for Cuthbert to say everything, government. And then he also asks government to teach you how to eat, or teach you how to sleep and everything. Yes, government can give you sensitization messages on nutrition and what, but still an individual has a role to play.
I've taken a ride in some of these vehicles of embassies and in multinational organizations in Uganda on the highway, and they have a speed limit. They reach a certain level, and then you cannot go beyond maybe 100. And somehow, and you rarely hear them in trouble, though they can happen, but you're rarely in trouble. That alone at least helps. So
that's the discipline I'm talking about. That's the discipline.
So, Mr. Singoma, the issue of discipline, the issue of speed governance is key. Before even call upon enforcement, we have to have our own restraint and behavior that is positive on the road, Cuthbert.
Yes, the speed limiters, government brought them, and of course, again, they had to remove them, then they brought them back again. Now, those are the things that government should do. As much as this private sector, the bus owners, are pushing us, but government should stand down and say, these are the things we're putting in place and they must work. So the speed limiters, for us really, we are in for them. We are insisting all these public transport vehicles should have speed limiters so that these people don't go beyond the speed limit prescribed on the road. That we are in for it.
You know, first of all, we are now in October and towards the last part of October, and we're getting to November. There's always excitement on the road as we come towards the end of the road and the end of the year. And the story keeps repeating itself. You know, you hear in Ilwela, you hear somewhere across the river in Pologoma, you'll hear things happening, and yet you would think that we would be better prepared to avoid this kind of blood on our roads.
Yes, now this is the right time to have messages. We should have a lot of messages coming out to sensitize people about the increased road crashes that are going to happen. Because the fun part with this year is that we have the festive season, but we also have the campaign. Now these two activities are very, very hectic. They attract very many people, they attract very many vehicles, and everything happens on the road. Now, all of us are responsible for this. We, the citizens, the drivers, even the people who are doing all the political campaigns, and the people organizing the other festive activities that are going to happen in the coming 3 months. So we should all take responsibility for these activities. Whoever is going to organize.
Okay. I think we're having a problem there on the line to a connection with Mr. Cuthbert Singoma from Ureno, but we pretty much had ended our discussion with him on the issue. We thank you for the guidance, for the issues you raise. We think there should be government should do more, especially in sensitizing the people and also in enforcement. And as much as we also try to be disciplined on the road, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, let's look into the politics of the day full throttle, especially the presidential campaign so far and the nominations we have seen. We'll be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM. And this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Kamara. We've heard from Mr. Joseph Beyanga, and Mr. Cuthbert Singoma. All of them are into road safety. And we still have to think about those Ugandans who perished and their family members who are in pain because of losing their loved ones. And unfortunately, we are entering a season where it's going to be very busy. It's on the roads. It is the festive season and the campaigns, both the presidential and the parliamentary elections. And now we saw the nominations of members of parliament on day one, and of course the continuation of the presidential campaign. Mr. Birhanga, I know the incumbent president and the NRM candidate, President Yoweri Museveni, has been in northern Uganda from Kampala. It started in Luwero, I suppose, and now in northern Uganda. If the crowds we have seen on social media and others are anything to go by, it appears the people in northern Uganda are welcoming your party chairman in big way.
Well, even in the last election, President Museveni won in northern Uganda. He got about 380,000 votes in the whole of Lango. He got about 400,000 votes in the whole of West Nile. He got about 200,000 votes in Acholi. Winning. He got 190,000 votes in Karamoja. So in total, he got 1.2 million votes in the whole of northern Uganda.
And that is on top of the fact that there was...
not only but he got that and was a winner.
and on top of that, actually had one of their own, like a son of the region, on the ballot. This time around, that's not the case.
Yeah.
What is likely to happen? What is likely to be the difference that... I know these elections are not ethnic, but probably there are those who would follow that element, that Lango and Acholi have no presidential candidate this time around. What does that mean?
Well, they're going to vote for NRM. Even last time, even when they voted, the majority, I said President Museveni won in Lango with 380,000 votes. He won in West Nile with 420,000 votes. He won in Acholi with 200,000 votes. He even won in Karamoja with total north 1.2 million votes. So, with or without you see, the people today in Uganda have gone out of the tribal things. They vote for issues. Northern Uganda was at one time not at peace. There is now peace. There is development. I was looking at figures. Tomorrow, President is going to be in Kitgum. Kitgum was about 49,000 households. About 50% of those households have already benefited from PDM already. Padea, where he is also tomorrow, 54% of the households have benefited from PDM. Now, these are issues. It's nothing about tribe, but you are voting for a government which has come to your rescue for your concern. And as you know, some of the candidates have been heard saying that, for instance, they're going to abolish PDM. If you're going to abolish PDM,
I know you're talking about Honorable Robert Chagulanyi.
You are saying you're going to abolish PDM. Somebody in Kitgum is 50% of the households have already benefited, and the other 50%, now the other 50% includes those who are already in the money economy. But maybe out of that, maybe 30 or more percent need to be beneficiaries of PDM. So those are waiting to benefit, and now somebody is saying we are going to abolish that program. So at the end of the day, he's helping us consolidate our votes.
I think you, as NRM political strategists, must either be working, overtime or working extra hard, because the new candidate is actually hot on the heels of your candidate, if not even in some cases in front. If you look at the crowds, the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi got in Busoga region, and Busia was phenomenal for some people. And if he continues that with momentum, I'm sure you're getting worried, aren't you?
Kamara, I didn't see crowds in Busoga. I didn't see them. In fact,
why are you being selective? Wait. You can only see some crowd and you don't see others.
No. You don't mention.
Yeah, I'm saying there are crowds in Acholi, but
he hasn't been in Acholi.
I'm saying for your wedding, for President Yoweri Museveni.
That is it's obvious.
But there are crowds in Busoga, Moses. And there are crowds in Busia region.
Let me tell you, the Right Honourable Speaker Anita Mong held a rally on the same venue Chagulanyi had in Kaliru. You just go, if it's about crowds, look at those crowds. The crowd Anita Among were attracted
in Busoga.
Within Busoga, within Kaliru, within Iganga, those areas, the same places where Chagulanyi was, were much bigger than what Chagulanyi attracted. So if you're talking about crowds, Chagulanyi has not beaten us with a crowd in any one place. Here in Kampala, remember nomination rally? We held our nomination rally in Kololo on the day we nominated, on 22nd of September. He got nominated the following day, 23rd. He's had his rally, I think, in the 3rd area. If you look at those crowds, they can tell you if you are judging performance by crowds. Definitely our crowd in Kololo was like 4 times or how many times bigger than this.
I hear some of your critics, Moses, talking about busing in people from all over the region, that some people getting paid just to attend the rallies. That is what is talked about, and you would know better. So what is the real case?
That's nonsense. That's what I can say. Because we are having a rally in every district. One rally per district, and we're going to cover all the districts. We have so far covered, I said, the whole of... We haven't finished Lango. We postponed our rally in Lira and Okole, but we have finished. We have completed the whole of West Nile. We are now in Acholi. We are completing Acholi on Friday and entering Karamoja. In all those places, because we're holding a rally at one place in a district, the only movement I can talk about is people coming from the different parishes within that district to come for a rally at the district headquarters or any other place chosen within the district. So some of the areas are so huge in terms of geography. So you find that the district headquarters, you need to move like 20 kilometers to the farthest area or 30 kilometers. So those, if they come in trucks, that's okay, but it is within that district. We're not getting people from another district to go to attend a rally in another district, unless if they go on their own. That's okay. On the contrary, I've seen some of the candidates here.
But are you giving them transport from within the district? Are you transporting them?
Many of them transport themselves, but the arrangements of giving transport, the organizers in the local districts, yes, some of them do it, but it is within the district. If like tomorrow is in Kitgum, the organizing committee will ensure that people come from all the parishes of Kitgum to come to attend the rally and then be able to go back. But the other day, I represent our candidate as the electoral commissioner as his agent.
Yes, I remember him saying so.
Yeah, now, we were one of the meetings, the police showed us video clips of when Chagulanyi was going to, I think, to Jinja during the first week, moving with a host of over 1,000 people over the border from Kampala, going through Kalaji, and unfortunately, in that uncontrolled movement, because it's breaching traffic laws, there was an accident. One of the vehicles in the convoy knocked another, and they had 4 injuries, fatalities, people with broken limbs as a result of that. So for us, we don't do that at all. But the people are from that very district.
So this time around, President Yoweri Museveni has been doing this for quite some time. So perhaps you can say he has a record for winning, we can say for now. But at the moment, as your candidate goes around Uganda, what is on the people's mind? What do Ugandans want this time around from their candidate, from these candidates?
Well, they want stability. And like now, it's in President is northern Uganda. 20 years ago, the situation in northern Uganda was different in security, but this is the person who has brought about security and stability. As I told you, in northern Uganda now, it's about development. It's about development. So the people they want somebody who can consolidate it, who can assure them. We are now talking about fighting poverty in the homesteads. That's why we introduced PDM, and we want to continue with it. In areas like urban areas like Kampala or Greater Kampala, we want to increase the amount of money going there from 100 million per year to 300 million. Now, people, when they hear that, they know somebody is coming to me. Because traditional people always talk about development issues like roads, hospitals, ABCD, MCD, but they forget that, yes, you can have good roads, you can have good hospitals, but people need the income in their homesteads. And our structure of the economy is not in such a way that everybody will get jobs in the services and the other sectors. There are those mainly in agriculture. Many of them, some of them are not educated to work in other places. So they need a government which responds to their needs in terms of how can they improve their incomes. And that's why we came out with this program of PDM. We're extending water to all the places. I've been looking at all the districts in northern Uganda, making briefs for the president. I noticed that no district in northern Uganda where the access to clean water in a village is less than 80%. Most of them, 88%, 83%.
Access to clean water?
Access to clean water per village.
So are we talking about protected wells or boreholes or?
Yeah, sure. And you see, that also works into the health. Because if people have, like, I remember in the past, we used to have a lot of bilharzia, and so waterborne diseases were common. Cholera. You see, you people, you for instance, here in Kampala, since when did you hear about cholera in Kampala? But there's a time when every rainy season would have cholera in Kampala. But when I remember this one, I participated in it personally around 2010, when we extended clean water services in the slum areas of Kampala, 2008, 2009. Around that time, I was heavily involved in that work. And since then, you have not heard about Korea in Kampala.
Mr. Moses Biarhang, hold on to your point. We're going to take a break. When we come back, let's look at the issue of nominations that started today for members of parliament. And it appears those who lost in the primaries of different parties, including the NRM, some of them are actually running as independents. What does that mean for democracy in Uganda? We'll be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amar. My guest in the studio is Senior Presidential Advisor, Mr. Moses Biarhanga, and we now want to look into this last segment into the nominations. You know, it appears what I've been monitoring, the nominations have gone smoothly. But Mr. Biarhanga, what does that mean for people to go through a primary? And by the way, it takes a lot of time and money, and then some of them lose. But then they defy their party positions and then they go as independents. What does that mean for our democracy?
Well, for a growing democracy like Uganda, you can have different topics about it. But I remember when we were doing political science at Makerere, the late Professor Nsibambi was one of my lecturers, among others. Professor late Mujaju, late Biargava, late Professor Varongo. Many of my professors have passed on, but now I remember him telling us that in a developed world, people seek, he could use this, the biblical example, say, people seek ye the kingdom of heaven first, and the rest shall be added unto you. Now for him, he said, there, they seek the economic kingdom first.
Here?
You know, in Europe, in Europe, in the developed world, and the rest is added unto them. But here, many people are look at parliament as a job.
You get the political position, and then and the economies are added onto it.
Yes. So that was what Leighton Swami used to tell us, and I can see it happening in practice. So, because yes, there are issues to do with primaries. You might think, okay, it was not fair and so forth. But in other areas, it was okay. If you sought me, I think I defeated Kamara in the primaries, but maybe they were not done so well. I just give up and go and do other things. Because there, politics is a service. I come in to serve. So if I'm not gone, I have something else to do.
Do you think maybe in the future there will be a need for people who have lost a primary, not subject themselves to the general election?
Yeah. They should
so that you know.
Yeah, because you're not sure of what to do. If I have other things to do, why should I go on? It has to be me. Why you? Other people can also do it, especially if it is within your party. Why should you struggle to? Because I know many of them will say, I won, I did better. The parameters were not fair enough, blah, blah, blah. Yes, those could be true. Many of them are true. But the spirit of the party will require you to say, okay, even though they declared so and so the winner, not me, let me support that. After all, I want my party to be the one to win, and not me, the person, or Kamara, the person. Whether it is Kamara, the person, whether it is me, the person, the policy of our party remain the same. So if we are not looking, so that's why that makes the difference. But at the end of the day, as even the parties, like NRM improves on how to conduct, because this primary election for a political party is not easy. It's very expensive. The requirements to be so fair, like now we do in NRM, we do standing behind the candidates. We have ever tried the
secret ballot.
The secret ballot before. We also tried the college before, but all of them had weaknesses. Now the secret ballot would be the best. But organizing a secret ballot where you are going to print the ballots, for all the candidates with their photographs and so forth, is a very expensive exercise. But if the lining up behind the candidates is well conducted, with people who are fair-minded in terms of what they are doing, it can give you good result. And where it was fair enough, people are not coming as independents.
But you see, even those who have come as independents, and quite a big number back in the day, it also shows that their complaints they were exonerated in what they say that the system was unfair.
I agree. I said yes. In some cases the unfairness is true, but the spirit, if one is not necessarily looking at the parliament as a job, or other people can also serve, I would say yes, it wasn't fair. But you, the one who have been declared, you go. On behalf of our party, I will support you, so that at the end of the day, it is my party winning, not me winning as an individual. That should be the party spirit.
But let's face it, really. People, are they joining these parties because you have a political, ideological conviction? Or, you know, we see the pendulum shift of members from one side to other and something like that, and you wonder whether really people are grounded in some kind of ideology of these parties.
Well, I haven't seen people moving from movement to others in big numbers or in something substantial. I think only in the last election there was somebody from Gisu, what is his name? One or two. But I haven't seen it happen in NRM, so which means that maybe the supporters, those who are in NRM, really believe in it. They are not moving just because to sway, to win a seat, but they are there, they believe in it. That's why even those who come as independents within NRM, by the way, they don't go away out of NRM. They still make their posters in yellow, the yellow T-shirts. They campaign for the NRM presidential candidate, and some of the other candidates like at local government. But the only thing is they think the primaries were not fairly done. So the only competition is at Parliament. But at the end of the day, they remain NRM. So they have not left the NRM per se.
So tell me, because the president is yet to go to Lira, you said in Lango, though some other parts have been, he has been visited already, he's campaigned there already. But Lira is going to be very interesting, Mr. Byarhanga, because he has his cabinet minister who is running for a similar position. Two cabinet ministers, one is a flag bearer, I think, Jen Rusa Cheng, and the other one is a minister for gender.
He's also a flag bearer
for UPC, but a cabinet minister. Isn't that problematic?
Well, it shouldn't be. The people will decide at the end of the day. The people of Lira City, that's Lira City woman seat, they will decide who to take to Parliament. But I know more of them are campaigning for the president.
What I know, when the president is in Lira, the minister of gender will be there. I'm sure also will be, but the president will be handing over the flag, I suppose, to the Honorable General Chaseng.
That's true.
And yet these two are competing.
That's
going to be very funny.
No, we have seen similar cases, but not directly of that nature. But it's where we have had an independent running against a flag bearer, and they all believe in NRM. And at the end of the day, the population decides. So more or less, although Rusa Cheng is the one standing for NRM, and Betty Momongi is standing for UPC. At the end of the day, the people of Lira City will make a decision, and whoever wins or loses should know that the people have decided.
All right, Mr. Moses Byarhanga, what's going to be your concluding remark tonight?
My concluding remark is that yes, on the first topic of road safety, we need as drivers, as travelers in these vehicles, we need to be cautious of traffic rules and regulations, or not to overspeed, not to drink driving, and so forth. We need to avoid those. Yes, the state has something to do on its side, but also as an individual, it's a two-way position. The individuals have what to do, and also the state has what to do. On the campaign trail, I'm happy with what we have so far seeing on NRM side. We are doing so well. We are getting good crowds. We are getting good strategy for mobilization. I also want to remind the people out there, listeners, that you mentioned here, you were talking about Usoga, and Kampala, or most of Uganda and Soga are the most urbanized areas in Uganda. In the last election, where through COVID, people had been at home for a long time. So there was a lot of concerns, people, especially on the economic side. Camaras need to be rent, and so forth and so forth. But today's situation is much different. and we are going to do much better in these areas.
Mr. Moses Byaranga, Senior Presidential Advisor, thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of the Hot Seat. Good night. God bless Uganda.